Hey guys, how's it going? Daniela here. Hope you're having an awesome Thursday so far. Sorry I'm late to get on. I know I said 12:30, but I have been stuck on a call up to this point. So apologies for not being on time. If any of you guys tried to log in at 12:30 and didn't see me on, yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry, but hopefully you'll be able to watch this video after it's been loaded up and still get all the info. So, like I said in my previous post, today is going to be all about answering the big question about alcohol. And a lot of people have this question when it comes to weight loss. And I mean, most people know that alcohol is not the best for our health, but everybody wants to know, how much does it really affect my ability to lose weight and reach my goals? And the answer to that is, I guess there's a few pieces. So number one, to answer the question blankly, yes, it does definitely affect your ability to lose weight and see results from your fitness program. If you, even if, obviously, if you've made lots of changes to your diet, you want to go that extra step and also look at how much alcohol you are consuming on a weekly basis, because that's going to be huge in terms of seeing the results you want. I'm sure most of you guys know that alcohol is basically sugar. It is converted into sugar into our body. And hey there, how's it going? Thanks for being on. So definitely, thinking about alcohol being sugar, we want to try to minimize as much sugar as possible in order to see optimal results, right? Um, and you want to not only think about the fact that it is sugar, but the amount of calories that are in alcohol are pretty high, right? And they are empty calories. This is not like your body has to, work on breaking down the fiber, right, and trying to get nourishment from it. There is no nourishment from alcohol. It's simply just sugar. Yeah, there are some antioxidants that do exist in wine, right? But I mean, you can still get antioxidants from a lot of other foods that are not alcohol, right? Um, so the biggest problem with alcohol is generally that we overconsume it. Alcohol is a toxin. It is seen as a toxin in our body. So our body needs to deal with a toxin before it can think about, dealing with other stressors in the body or other bodily functions. So when we drink alcohol, our liver has to detox or metabolize the alcohol, right? So red wine with blueberry garnish. Yeah, that would be pretty good. Good suggestion. And I will actually be giving some suggestions as to what the best choices are for alcohol, because I know, I'm not clueless to the fact that people drink anyways. And yes, I do enjoy a glass of wine here and there too. So, I'm not saying don't drink ever, but, you guys have goals. So I'm trying to help you achieve them, right? Going back to the idea that alcohol is a toxin in the body, and our liver does have to metabolize it, right? It's a stressor, right? It's something that the body needs to deal with. And when we drink alcohol, the fact that it is a toxin means that our hormone cortisol also increases when we drink, right? Because our body is in flight mode. Okay. Now, this is not necessarily happening if you have one glass of wine or one drink. Okay. That's not necessarily the case. It's when we overload the body with alcohol that it becomes an issue, right? So, drinking every single day, having a bottle of wine a night, all of these things are overload of stress in the body, right? That the body needs to deal with before, it can digest, right? It can work on building muscle. It can work on getting rid of fat stores. None of that stuff is going to happen. It's all going to be halted because the body, the liver, is trying to metabolize the alcohol, right? And, having said that, a lot of people don't realize that the reason that you're not supposed to drink and drive, right, is not necessarily because you may or may not, feel drunk after only having one drink an hour. It's actually based on the fact that our liver actually can't metabolize more than one drink per hour, approximately, right? So when we tax the body with more than one drink per hour, our body has to work really, really hard on, oh, I just timed out. Sorry, guys. Our body has to work really, really hard to get rid of that alcohol, right? It sees it as an emergency that it has to deal with, right? And the other problems with alcohol is that it increases our glucose levels. Like it messes with our blood sugar, right? So it means that our body has to increase glucose levels, which means that it's sort of acting. If you guys were on the Facebook Live where I was talking about the problem with eating sugar and how we can't stop eating it once we start, it's like the idea of that blood sugar roller coaster, right? Well, alcohol mimics that to an extent, right? And so it makes us have cravings for food that we wouldn't necessarily, choose to eat if we weren't overdoing it with the alcohol. And our body needs to get back into that balance, right? So, if we think about anything, our health in general, it's all based on trying to get our body back to balance, right? Our body needs to be in a certain balance in terms of our blood sugar at all times. Otherwise, it sees that as a problem and it sees it as chaos in the body, right? So in order to bring it back to balance, our body has to do certain things, produce certain hormones for that to happen, right? And most of the time when it needs to do that, because it's in a stress mode, it ends up affecting your body's ability to get rid of fat stores and build muscle, right? Because those are all secondary things that are not necessary for us to survive, right? You don't need to have a six pack. You don't need to have awesome, arms or an awesome butt in order to survive. These are not things that our body sees as priorities for our survival, right? What it sees as priority for our survival is our being mentally alert, right? Being able to, run away from something. Those are things that are critical for our body, right? It's not about all the things that, are more the vanity factor, right? Those are secondary. So if we want to get to the point where we want to target specific areas of our body, get rid of excess fat stores, we got to look at everything we're consuming. And alcohol is one of those big, big things that if we are overdoing it in that area, it's going to affect us for sure. Okay. So what I always suggest to my clients is don't think about giving up alcohol cold turkey if it's something that you look at as a de-stressor, for yourself. But limit it significantly. Think of, Saturday or Friday night is the night you're going to enjoy some wine or have some drink with friends, right? The idea of coming home and having drinks every single night is not going to get you close to your goals. No matter how much you work out, guys, it's going to affect your goals, I promise you. So think about other rituals, other things that you can do to de-stress after work. And eventually, it might be hard at the beginning, but eventually it will get easier as you build the new habits into your life, right? And, we all, we're social. We like to go out with friends and enjoy, some drinks, but try to limit it as much as possible, especially during your challenges, because it is going to be, a big factor. Okay. So now that I talked to you about limiting alcohol, let's talk about what are the best choices for alcohol. David, hard to limit during Pride, but going to try. I'll choose a less sugary drink for sure. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, David, you've been doing this for a really long time. You've made a lot of really great, changes and are making great choices on a daily basis. So having, a weekend that is not something typical where you're drinking a bit more than usual is, not the end of the world, right? But you might also notice that after, 2, 3 days of having had alcohol in your system and not being used to doing that anymore, you're not going to feel the best. And sometimes it's actually good to do stuff like that because it reminds you, like, man, like it sucks when I drink. Like I really don't feel well anymore if I overdo it, right? And sometimes we need those reminders, right? Because sometimes we think we're depriving ourselves of things like, going out for drinks every night and all that stuff. But then when we go back and start doing that again, we're shocked to realize that I don't actually even want to do that anymore because it makes me feel like crap, right? And we generally prefer to do things that make us feel good, right? When we're used to drinking all the time, we don't realize that we don't know the difference between feeling good and feeling the way we feel now, if that makes sense, right? So when we experience feeling our best and we go to a place where we don't feel our best anymore, then we want to try to stay within our best naturally for the most part, right? Like it's just something we crave after a while, right? So, you know, it's not a big deal if you're gonna go to Pride and enjoy yourself, right? This is about the everyday rituals that we have. Okay. So, in terms of the best choices, I'm actually going to post a list or a link after this to a document that I've created for the best choices. But in terms of calories, wine is generally probably the best route, and also you're getting some benefits in terms of antioxidants, especially if you're choosing like organic wines, which have less of like the fillers and stuff. I don't know how many of you guys have read some of the articles that have been posted on wine and all the amounts of different stuff that go into it besides grapes, right? Like it's kind of weird and scary at the same time. Like they're putting all these fillers and stuff in our wine now, which is super strange. So trying to consume wine that is organic, that is going to be mainly grapes, is probably a good idea. And then after that come mixed drinks, right? Now there's mixed drinks and mixed drinks. If you have something like one of those crazy drinks that have like 5 different kinds of juice and sugar and all this stuff, it's going to be a big difference between having like a vodka soda with lime, right? So it's about choosing the drinks that have the least amount of sugar, right? Vodka soda, definitely a better option than having Coke and something, Coke and rum and Coke. That's it. I was trying to think of it. Gin and tonic is also going to be a lot more sugary than having soda or vodka water or a martini, for example, right? Think about what is the mixer in each drink and choose accordingly, right? Because there's definitely going to be, a lot more sugar and a lot more for your body to have to deal with if you're having stuff with lots of sugar. What, alcohol and protein powder? I'm starving like vodka soda. Yeah. I don't, I've never tried alcohol and protein powder at all. I mean, might work. I don't know. Maybe some like Great Lakes gelatin might, work a little bit better than protein powder, but I've never tried it. If anybody does, I'm totally interested to know what that tastes like. And if, it might actually slow down the absorption of the alcohol, having some protein in there. So who knows? I've personally never tried. Actually, I think David, I have not the greatest idea. Okay, it's not good. All right. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it being great. I mean, there are some drinks like pisco sour and stuff like that that have like the egg whites in it, and there are some drinks that have egg whites, but you're getting the protein. So if you want to maybe go that route to get some protein in there, you can try that. But I don't know about the actual protein powder. And so there's the wine, the mixed drinks, and then there's beer. Beer is probably the highest in caloric value, unless you're doing a light beer, but light beer, let's all face it, it's kind of tastes like crap, so why would you want to drink it anyways? No offense if you like light beer. For me, if I'm gonna have a beer, I'm gonna have like a real good tasting beer. But that's definitely the highest caloric value. and also full of gluten unless you're doing gluten-free beer, so it can cause a lot of bloating and indigestion, and can also make you feel incredibly full. So I don't know if you experienced this before, but you have a beer on an empty stomach and suddenly you don't feel hungry at all for a meal. And yeah, you can look at this two ways. You can look at it as like, oh, this is awesome. Now I don't feel like I need to eat and like cut my calories for the day. But your body actually needs food, right? It actually needs nutrition. So, this is not generally a good idea, okay? So yeah, that's about it, guys. Like, any questions about any particular kind of drinks or anything like that, or anything surrounding alcohol, feel free to ask. But generally speaking, it just comes down to moderation and new rituals, especially now in the summer when it's more social, patio weather. It becomes a little bit more tricky and harder not to drink a lot, but it's definitely worth it not to do it for your energy levels, to be able to get the most out of your workouts. You don't want to feel slouchy and like you're dragging yourself all day long. Think about, the fact that you're investing money, investing time into nourishing your body with good food, enough protein and, healthy carbs and fats. And, the idea of then ruining all of those good efforts with drinking a bunch of alcohol every single night seems a little bit, counterproductive, right? So enjoy your drinks, still be social, but do it in a moderate way and stick to, one night, maximum two, during the week, okay? And, don't overdo it. Think about your poor liver that has to detox all of this alcohol, right? So 1, 2 drinks, guys, and, just become one of those people that nurses their drinks, right? It's not about chugging it back and getting sloshed. It's about, just having a good time, right? So I hope this was helpful, guys. Have an amazing rest of your day, and make sure you keep asking questions so that I can keep posting Facebook Lives to answer them. All right, have an awesome day. Bye.